A disappointing evening in Detroit, Michigan for the St. Louis Blues that drop the contest tonight against the Red Wings. 6-4, the final score. But if you are joining us here on STL Sports Central for Blue Central, you probably know that what made it so painful was not the final score. It's knowing what the score was about halfway through the game. 4-0 in favor of St. Louis. They give up 6 unanswered goals to drop the contest on Saturday night against the Red Wings. I'm Ethan Hannaford. He is Thomas Welch, and we are here for you, St. Louis. We are here to hear your anger, to hear your frustration, your disappointment, maybe some optimism, some things you liked as well. I have a feeling, Thomas, we're probably going to hear a lot more of the first thing I mentioned, but man, what a disappointing evening for St. Louis after it started off so promising.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, like you said, the negativity is coursing through me right now. So I think I'm just going to go scorched earth for this podcast. It started with the Mizzou game, kind of the game of the season. And you see, Bo go down, just absolutely gets his leg crumpled, and just watch the season wither away in perfect Mizzou fashion as they catch a Hail Mary down at the 1 yard line to tie the game. It set the tone for the course of the evening. And then the Blues come out guns a-blazing in the exact fashion that we've been begging them to, just clamoring for them to do, and actually show up at the start of puck drop and play a solid first period. And we saw that tonight. We're like, thank God this team has finally figured it out, turned a corner. This is the team that we saw streaking down toward the playoffs at the end of last season. We saw a second period where they kind of kept the same momentum. Jimmy Snuggerud hit a couple posts. I think Pius Suter played a fantastic game defensively on the penalty kill. You're starting to see the pieces come together. And then 1.6 seconds, this team comes back, right? Or the team that we know and love and have thought about, I've had nightmares about for the course of this entire offseason. A team that decides, there's 3 minutes left in the period. Somebody else's problem. We don't need to finish this out. They're not going to score. Benner's got us. Next thing you know, the game's flipped on its head, 4-3, going into the third period. Writing was on the wall. I think you had one shot on goal in the third period halfway through. Just an absolute nightmare scenario for this Blues team that consistently creates new ways to lose hockey games and really drag our hope with them for the course of the season. I don't know about you, chat. I know chat's kind of popping off right now, and appreciate all you guys coming in and being miserable with me. But my expectations for this season have changed drastically, right? We see 50-50, throughout the course of games and throughout the course of periods, this team just continues to show us glimpses of the nightmare scenario that it was for the majority of last season. I've chalked it up to, not being ready to start the season. I've chalked it up to cardio issues. It feels like this team is just broken. And I don't if 1.6 seconds broke them more. Robert Thomas is injured now. Upper body injury is the full extent of what we know. He only took one shift in the third period. Just everything that's going wrong for this team right now is going wrong. Yeah, 4-0. And then you finish the game 6 goals unanswered. It's inexcusable. You're playing at the NHL level, professional hockey. You should be able to close out a game. I mean, we just saw it against Utah. They go up 4-0 in the first period. We're this game's over. Chalk it up right now because this team's not coming back. Detroit Red Wings showed us that, teams in the NHL do come back, and it's not over until the fat lady sings. And the fat lady started singing pretty early for this Blues team because 9 out of 10 of them is hanging their heads on the bench, skating around with one hand on their stick. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with this team, but they're broken right now and they can't even find a win anywhere.
Wow. All right. You got it out.
I don't know.
Got it out. And we're just getting started here on STL Sports Central. Just a reminder that in just a few minutes, we are going to have our money moment of the game. Blues Central post game is brought to you by our business banking partners at Home Bank. So let us tell you about Home Bank a little bit. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. We're going to tell you about our money moment of the game here in just a little bit. But first, let us go ahead and walk through this in chronological order. Let's go ahead and start with what looked so good. We know how ugly Thursday was against Utah. And a lot of fans were ready for a response. And you better do something to show that the team is going to be ready to go at puck drop. And they did tonight. First period was stellar. You could argue the first 30 minutes of this game were stellar. But at some point, things went wrong. We'll get to that. What did you like early about what St. Louis was able to do to get things going and jump out to that early lead?
Oh, I think the biggest thing was their play early, right? Like in the last, really, like there's been 2 games this season where I felt like the Blues first period was strong, and really like the first 5 minutes of the game to really come out with fire and be ready for puck drop. And I think that's been it feels like that was a key focal point for Jim Montgomery, not just in this game, but specifically going back into the preseason. He's like, we got to be ready. When the puck drops the first time, jump on top of these teams, bury them, kill them early, and then you can not coast to a victory, but it's a lot easier to play when you have the lead. And the Blues have consistently found themselves this season early on in games where they're trying to claw back from behind. And we know mentally right now that this team is not capable of doing that. I'm sorry. From top to bottom, you can say it's a leadership group. You can say whatever you want about the guys wearing the C, guys wearing the A. I love Braden Shen. I love Colton Parayko, all those guys. Nobody's got it right now. Nobody's got the answers. You can listen to Braden Shen's press conference tonight and he'll be like, yeah, puck wasn't bouncing our way. We still believe in this group. If you're in this post game right now, you can just skip the interview. I'll do it for you right now. We got to show up to practice and really put together a strong team group. We're going to talk internally about things we're doing wrong. We got an opportunity against the Pittsburgh Penguins for us to bounce back. We're going to focus on that moving forward. It's a long season, and we still believe in this group. There, I just basically summed up everything, the cookie cutter answers that they're going to give. Throw a couple ums and likes in there, and you'll probably get the gist of it. But my God, 2 for 2 on the power play to start the game, positive, because last game it was a nightmare, and we know throughout the course of this season, early on, the power play has been struggling. So you're 2 for 2 on the power play. You're like, maybe they fixed everything. Maybe the Blues can only win games when they're away from Enterprise Center. They just get a little stage fright in front of their fans. Maybe next home game, everybody at Enterprise Center just wears an away team's jersey or just doesn't wear a Blues sweater. That way the Blues feel like they're playing an away game. And they play better, right? At least that's what I was led to believe 30 minutes into this game. It's we get a little stage fright. We can only play good hockey away from Enterprise. And then the collapse happens, right? It's just a tumultuous, downfall of a team that we thought had turned a corner. And then, the brakes, the wheels, everything just falls off the bandwagon, and it's curtains on the end of the game. And you're looking back. They panned on the broadcast. They panned across the bench, and you can just see in all the players' faces, how is this happening? And it's I don't know, dude. It's hard for me to feel bad for them because they have to show up for an hour and play hockey, and they play hockey their entire life. They practice every day, and they go home and eat chicken parm and get some carbs in them and watch their favorite Netflix series, and then show up to 20,000 screaming fans, begging you to glance their way and notice them so they can make a TikTok edit. And I'm out here working a 9 to 5, grinding on social media, and then I come home and do a podcast about the team for fun, grinding even more. In days when I'm not doing this podcast, oh yeah, I'm running social media on the side for another client as a side gig. Just do some work. Everybody in Missouri, blue collar workers, they work from dusk until dawn on construction, working on streets, pulling your bootstraps up, teachers, police officers are Missouri is full of every single kind of job you can imagine. And these guys are living in the lap of luxury, constantly getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to show up for an hour every couple of days and play a children's sport. and they can't even get up for it. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, figure it out. I don't know what to tell you.
I think Thomas just broke there for a second, and chat is just all over me for no reason whatsoever. I don't even know what is the chat. The chat is broke, just like Thomas is, and some heavy accusations being thrown in the chat tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight. But
I think Jonathan's a Red Wings fan, which actually we appreciate you hopping in the chat. Hey, that's awesome.
We appreciate you being here. He's throwing.
You guys do have a good team. I will say that, but it's more of a collapse of the Blues tonight than I will give credit to the Red Wings for clawing back, because the Blues were just, I mean, they went ghost mode for the second half of this game and just let your soft team crawl their way back into it. So congratulations on the W.
He's Thomas Welch. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is Blues Central on STL Sports Central. Comment here from one of our friends here, our contributors here at STL Sports Central, Mike Meyer, commenting saying, they're playing scared. They're playing too tight, thinking too much. Very little confidence in their play right now. 1 goal against, and their heads drop. There's no confidence that they've got it. What do you think about this comment, Thomas?
I mean, I would agree. Like, you can see their tone and their emotions change. Like the second the puck goes in the back of the net, which is odd, because you've got Jordan Binnington in goal, who's like one of the top 5 goalies in the league. So all you have to do is give him a chance, make him save like perimeter shots, and cover the slot and cover the crease. And the Blues just consistently, I mean, Jim Montgomery was talking about the physicality and the checking being like a stalwart for this team. And like, I don't know how many hits they had on the night, but it didn't feel like they were just burying anybody. 17 hits total in 3 periods of hockey. After Jim Montgomery talks about it the entire post game after the last game that you just decided to lose, like it doesn't feel like the Blues are doing anything right. You could say what you want about the referees tonight, but the last thing that I want to see is a Blues hockey team that's already struggling, that some have already considered is broken after 1.6 seconds happened last year, just complaining about the officials and being like, oh, we're up 4-0. You're not giving us calls. Come on. We need more power plays. We need more. Don't put us on the penalty kill. Like, that's not fair. And then next thing you know, the puck's in the back of their net because they're busy arguing with the ref. Like, just play hockey, dude. Play some hard-nosed hockey. Throw some guys into the boards, go to the gritty areas of the ice, and you'll get good results. It's not that hard to figure out, and I don't even like play. I'm just watching it night in and night out. But I can see the stark contrast between a Blues team that wins games and a Blues team that loses. And I feel like internally it should be easy for a Blues player to see that too. And it's just not happening when, the lights are brightest right now.
The date is October 25th, 2025.
Don't ask me to shave my head.
The odds are getting pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie. But I will not do that as of now. Now, in 3 games, if the Blues have blown 2 of them and have lost all of them, then perhaps I might. But for now, I'm going to hold off on that. I want to bring up a question here. I look at the standings, which don't matter at this point. I look at the standings solely to look at their record. They're 3-4-1 now with 7 points through 8 games played. I mentioned the date. It is October 25th. St. Louis has never been a team to come out firing on all cylinders, I should say. It isn't traditionally what they do. The reason that I bring that up, at what point do you, and I know we're frustrated. We're frustrated now because it's a bad loss. It's an embarrassing loss. You've had in 8 games, how many? 4 embarrassing losses now? Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago, and Utah. 4 embarrassing losses. Okay. At what point do you really start to get concerned? Because here's where I'm at. Is this frustrating? Yes. Am I concerned yet? I'm not there. It's October 25th and we've played 8 games. If you've lost your trust in Jim Montgomery to the point that you think that this team is donezo 8 games in, then I get it. You're a fan. It's what you're supposed to do. You think with your emotions, not with your brain sometimes. All right? But I would argue that perhaps we're jumping ahead a little bit. where are you at as far as your panic meter on what we have seen so far?
Yeah, I would say that I am concerned, and it's not because of Jim Montgomery. Because I know someone in chat was talking about goaltending and talking about coaching. Like, should you be worried about Jim Montgomery yet? No, like Jim Montgomery's not playing the games. Like Jim Montgomery is basically saying everything that the fans are saying in the philosophy and the system and how the Blues will eventually, if at all this season, will find successes through their physicality, through their checking, through their depth, all those things that he's prioritized and he's breathing into this team for them to focus on, even going back into the preseason. Like, it's everything that you want to hear, right? It's on the team for them to go out and execute those philosophies. And that is where the disconnect is happening right now, in my estimation and what I'm seeing, right? So am I worried about Jim Montgomery? Absolutely not. Am I worried about Jordan Binnington? Absolutely not. The guy's nails, top 5 goalie in the league. Like, he saves a lot of shots that he shouldn't be saving, like goals above the average goaltender. And I think that's probably a large reason of why we've seen Joel Hofer struggle, is because Joel Hofer is not the same goaltender as Jordan Binnington, and that's fine. Like, not a lot of people are. But to be able to find success in a guy like Joel Hofer, and even find success in a guy like Jordan Binnington, you have to play good hockey in front of him, clear the crease, and clear the slot. And the Blues are doing neither of those right now. The DeBrincat goal was a great example. The dude just skates across the blue line. Nobody's near him, waltzes his way into the slot, and just rifles one point blank against Jordan Binnington. He's got one of the best shots in the league. Like, he's going to score that 9 times out of 10. Like, you have to make it far more difficult on the opposing teams than the Blues are right now. And that's what I'm concerned about. Is I'm not concerned about the coach. I'm not concerned about the goaltending. What I am concerned about is the team and the players on the team, because I tweeted about it after the Utah debacle. But this team, Doug Armstrong, is not going to be looking at Jim Montgomery anytime soon to be like, oh, we got to, he's lost the voice of the room. We got to switch things up, fire a coach. That's not happening. He's going to start moving players. He's going to start trading pieces. Honestly, when I heard Robert Thomas only had 1 shift in the third period, my mind went straight to, oh my God, is he getting traded? Right. And that's crazy that we've gotten to that point, because in my opinion, he's one of the most underestimated players in the entire league. And he's obviously the best player on the St. Louis Blues. But like, that's the level of stuff that we're talking about. Do I think they're going to trade Robert Thomas? No, but I was just shocked to not see him on the ice. And I was nervous that, something like that was happening, because that's the kind of shock value that we're talking about this team dealing with, because nothing's waking them up. Like, you lost 8-3 against the Chicago Blackhawks on home ice, a Central Division opponent. Like, what has to happen for you to turn your head on straight and be like, hey guys, we might be a little bit better than this? Like, it's baffling to me.
He's Thomas Welch. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is Blues Central on STL Sports Central. We are here for you, Blues fans. Thomas is one with you guys. He is losing his mind right now. I am actively watching Thomas Welch. This is going to be the evidence that puts him in a psych ward eventually. This post-game show right here. This is going to be the evidence for it. And listen, and he's right there with all of you. We're both right there with all of you. Frustrating loss tonight for the St. Louis Blues, 6-4 against the Detroit Red Wings. All of our content here on STL Sports Central is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Before I tell you about DraftKings, just a reminder, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate if you do that. If you take in any of the content here on STL Sports Central, hit the subscribe button. That way you know when we're going to go live. That way you are able to get notifications. There's all kinds of content here on STL Sports Central, whether it be for the Blues, the Cardinals, the Battlehawks, St. Louis City. Bernie Nicholas is dropping his show every single weekday here on STL Sports Central. We have the Randy Carricker show as well every single morning, Monday through Friday. There is so much that goes on here on STL Sports Central. So please hit like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to us if you were able to do so. Now, let me tell you about DraftKings, where the crown is yours. You guys need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. And when you use the code STL Sports, You can grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December 1st. It is almost here. What is it? I just said the date. October 25th. We're a little over a month away. That's code STL Sports, STL Sports, in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offers. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Thomas Welch, it's been a few weeks since I have done that read, and I gotta say,
it was crisp. It was very nicely done.
It's not. It wasn't to my expectation. I like to be like when we used to have to play the actual thing that said the quick voice. I want to be as quick as him. I'm not quite back to it yet, so I'll get there. I'll get there for you so we can get back to the content. There was a comment in the chat earlier that I wanted to bring back up. A serious question from a very serious username, LaughingFrog12, asks, are some of these players having disagreements with Jim Montgomery? Did Monty lose some of the team? Now, before I give you the floor, Thomas, let me just preface by, I am in the locker room with the allotted media for, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the home games a year. So maybe like 10, 15 of the home games a year. There is nothing that we are seeing, right, that would be able to give us the answer to these kinds of questions, okay? So all that we are able to base our answers to questions like these off of is what we are seeing on the ice. So I just wanted to preface with that. Thomas, your thoughts? The lack of, you could argue, I've seen a lot of people calling it heart, effort that some of these guys are putting in. Does that have any sort of connection perhaps with coaching?
No, I don't think so. I think like Jim Montgomery's done, even going back to Zachary Bolduc last year, like you saw, like once Jim Montgomery kind of like took place and really took a hold of this team, even like post Four Nations, like Zachary Bolduc just went absolutely insane. Like Cam Fowler, like Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, like all these guys have like career years offensively under Jim Montgomery. So I think, I don't think there's a connection there at all. I think the Blues understand like the heightened level of coach that they have in Jim Montgomery, even going back to the time that he was, back in St. Louis as an assistant coach. Like they always value his opinion and things like that. So I don't think there's a disconnect there. I mean, we've seen what a disconnect looks like with a coach in the St. Louis Blues and like Vladimir Tarasenko and Hitchcock. I mean, up and down, like you like just barking on the bench left and right. Like I don't really see anybody doing that with Jim Montgomery. And like, even just something like Joel Hofer, where the dude probably has like his worst game as an NHLer. And Jim Montgomery takes the time to go over to him, not lay into him, be like, you failed us. Like you suck. This game is on you and we're going to put you back in the game so you can like wallow in the stink of it and really feel like how it feels. Like, absolutely not. He like takes him under his wing. He's like, hey, you're a good goalie. Like you're a stud and you've been a stud for us. This was a bad game. Put it in the past. Let's move on and, figure things out. So I think that's what, any player in the NHL would want from a good coach. And I think Jim Montgomery is by and large a technical coach, but he's a player's coach too. But he's also going to be real with you and tell you exactly what's going on. And I think that the St. Louis Blues value that. And I think that's the reason that I think Doug Armstrong values that extremely highly. And that's the reason that he's not going anywhere. So I don't think the disconnect is there because of the coach. And I don't think the disconnect is like, oh, like the players are going to, prove a point to Jim Montgomery and that like you've lost the voice of the locker room, or we don't agree with your ideology. So we're just going to go out and like half-ass it kind of thing. I think the issue is the heart, right? And like the hardest thing for any hockey team to do is, bang bodies, block shots, go to the gritty areas, go to the crease and like, put their body on the line for their team and really like not worry about themselves, worry about the good of the team. And, it's early on in the season and like I am concerned about this team, but I will say that it is a long season. They have plenty of time to figure it out and turn it around because they probably waited until the last possible minute to do so last season and still ended up scraping into the playoffs. Unfortunately for me, like I feel like at this point, especially with Robert Thomas, we don't know how much time he's missing, but if he is going to miss considerable amount of time, like that's kind of your big dog and your lead guy, and kind of, you know, the team goes as he goes kind of thing, especially offensively, but you're using him in all scenarios too. Like I am concerned about this team, and I feel like they're more likely to scrape their way into the playoffs again. Whereas at the beginning of the season, I would have said second round exit and top 3 in the Central Division. But we can't get a win against the Central team right now, so it's not looking good. That's all I gotta say.
Thomas Hartnett is asking that you just please stop yapping. Can you stop? I think that we should just sit here.
Just end the show right now. Yeah.
Should
sorry for the advertisers. Sorry for everybody that, you know, all the 43 people that are tuning into this right now. This guy specifically wants us to shut the stream off, so I think we should just shut it down.
I think we should just sit here in silence, and we should just let them talk about us not talking in the chat. I think that's what should happen. Hey, even for all of you trolls, even for all the people that are not Blues fans that are in here, we appreciate you being here, and you're still here. You are still here. Here's what I will say about Jim Montgomery. Did everyone just forget about what happened in the last half of 2024-25? Did everyone just forget? We're 8 games in. I'm not saying it's been good. Nights like this are super frustrating. This is a game that St. Louis should have won. But anyone that is questioning the coaching ability of Jim Montgomery, I just don't get it at this point. If it still looks like this at the end of December, like once we're getting into the new year, then that's a different story. But we're 8 games in, and Jim Montgomery has made it very clear that the way in which the team is playing right now is unacceptable. Like, can we not have some trust that there are going to be corrections made and that like things are going to be corrected? Can we not? That's more so where I think I lean on in this entire situation. This is a player issue right now. Your players are not performing good enough. I mean, are any of the guys that you have on the roster right now, going into this season, you were saying, I wish he wasn't here? I can think of two. Justin Falk and Pavel Buchnevich were the two probably that everyone was talking about. I can't think of anyone else besides those two. And even then, I mean, there's so much talent around them. I have a hard time like going through and reading these comments and trying to find a fair statement as to where this team is right now. There's been some accusations on Montgomery. There's been some accusations on the lack of heart being shown from this team. Yeah, I'll give you that. Like that I think that there has been times when they've been way too soft in the net front. I think that's probably been one of the bigger issues. But to say that this team just isn't good enough or that they need to start making moves, I think that's thinking like a fan, which I understand that's what you guys are. But sometimes you just have to give things time to develop it and let them figure it out and trust that it's a long season and that they're going to be able to do so. Now, if they end up falling short, then you can point back to these games. So I don't know. I digress. Thomas, where do you want to go from here? You tell me. How about we talk about our money moment of the game? How about that? Can you?
Oh God.
Because I'm gonna leave this up to you. I'm going to read about the money moment of the game, and then you go ahead and you tell us a little bit about the pivotal moment in your eyes from this evening's contest. So
I feel like is our money moment of the game allowed to be negative? Is that a thing?
I guess it can. You go ahead and you brew on that for a moment while I remind the people that the money moment of the game is brought to you by HomeBank, the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Thomas, the floor is yours.
I think I'm going to go with the Jonathan Berggren goal. on the power play, the first goal that was scored by the Red Wings, because you would think, right? Like, even at the time that this goal happens, like the St. Louis Blues as a team, as a squad should be like, listen, everything's fine. Like we're still up by 3 goals and they just scored on the power play. Like it's a power play goal. They're like expected to score, right? Instead, at the end of that period, you let in 2 goals, 30 seconds in between each other, and it's 4-3 going into the third period. Like that goal, like really felt like the momentum of the entire game shifted towards the Red Wings, because up until that point, like we talked about, Ethan, like I even felt like the Blues were playing well in the second period. But once that power play goal happened, you see people, getting frustrated, hanging their heads, being like, oh no, they scored on us. Like, I guess a 3-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey now, even though like you did all the work in the first period to make that 4-goal lead at the time happen. Like all of a sudden everything shifts. The ball starts rolling downhill. And then it's nightmare scenario by the time you get to the third period, and you can't even sniff like an offensive zone entry halfway through the third period. And by the time you figure things out and, try to string a few things together, it's too little too late, and they get an empty net goal, to call it curtains. So I think that first power play goal that was scored by the Red Wings is my money moment of the game. And it just ended up taking the Red Wings to the bank instead of the St. Louis Blues. Kind of made them bankrupt.
Honorable mention for money moment of the game. I would throw in JT Compher's goal with under a minute to play in the second period. You have a 2-goal lead at that point. You just said sarcastically, 3-goal lead is the most dangerous. It's actually the 2-goal, right? For those that weren't aware. I would argue that moment, they'd scored 30 seconds earlier. I think it was 27 seconds earlier, something like that. I would argue that being able to, you already had momentum at that point. You were going to carry momentum into the second intermission. To be able to get it to a 1-goal deficit in a matter of 30 seconds, 2 goals in 30 seconds, I think that is where at that point I got the pit in my stomach, like, here we go again. And because even a 2-goal lead in going into the third is tough to overcome. And so I would argue that was also a pretty big moment in the game. And as we saw in the third period, the Blues had 1 shot on net, I think, in the first 11 minutes. So say what you want about some of the unfortunate bounces. The Compher goal was definitely an unfortunate bounce, a weird tip-in on a deflected shot, I think, off of Matthew Joseph. But at the end of the day, when you only have you have an opportunity to put the game away in the third period, and you come out with 1 shot in the first 11 minutes. Say what you want about the bounces. That's everything you need to know. Is it not?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it tells me the way that the Blues came out for the third period that they died at the end of the second, right? And that killed all of their momentum. They had no confidence in themselves, like Chat was saying earlier. I think that's been a reoccurring problem throughout the course of this entire season early on. But it's a dead team, right? And it was only a matter of time until they tied it up, took the lead, and then, put the dagger in us. So, yeah. And really the end of that second period, like that is the biggest nightmare for me, because I think I already alluded to it, but like that felt like identical to what happened in Game 7 against Winnipeg. Like you have a team that has a 2-goal lead, right? There's a minute 30 seconds left in the period, and you're just like, it's over. Like they're not going to score. No, doesn't matter how many shots they put on us. Doesn't matter about offensive pressure. Doesn't matter about playing defense. I can't wait to go listen to some tunes in the locker room with my boys and hang out and crack a couple jokes, come back out for the third period and go win us a hockey game. And then all of a sudden you're looking on the wrong side of it. They put 2 past you in a minute 30, and now you've got a whole hockey game. You've got to recalibrate yourself in the intermission. They don't recalibrate themselves. They come out feeling sad, come out looking bad. And then you lose a hockey game. Like it's as simple as that, dude. If you don't finish out periods, if you don't finish out a full, 60 minutes of a hockey game, you don't deserve to win. And the Blues I can't think of a game throughout the course of this season that they played a full 60 yet. And that's the biggest problem is like you at least got to string together 2 quality periods, right? And every once in a while so far this season, we've had that and they came away with a win, or, against the Kings, come away with a point that you probably shouldn't even have gotten. But you can't play a full 60 minutes. Like, that's why this team went on such a crazy win streak last season. That's why this team ended up making the playoffs, is because they were consistently playing a full 60 minutes, not just against bottom dwelling teams, not just against Central Division teams, but some of the best teams in the NHL that we knew were already in a position to make the playoffs down the stretch. It's like, it's not rocket science. Play a full game, play a physical game, get bodies in front, do the hard things that will lead to success, and you'll start winning hockey games. But until that happens, they're just going to keep finding ways to lose like we saw tonight.
He is Thomas Welch. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is Blue Central on STL Sports Central, Blue Central postgame, I should say. Forgive me. And as always, we are sponsored by Drink Thunder. Excuse me. Blech. Let's try that again. Fuel your fire with Drink Thunder, the all-natural pre-workout that just hits different. Plant-based, fruit-powered, zero sugar. Sweetened naturally with monk fruit. Each serving is packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to ignite your energy and push your performance to the next level. Choose your flavor: orange mango, blackberry lemonade, or strawberry cream, and feel the rush the natural way. Order now at drinkthunder.com. Drink Thunder, pure power, no crash, all natural. I tell you what, I got to try the strawberry cream. That sounds pretty good, actually.
That
not
does
gonna
sound
lie.
pretty good. Actually, I could use any kind of drink right now, whether it's alcoholic or not.
After that one, I get it. I totally understand it. Before we wrap here on Blue Central postgame show, following a St. Louis Blues 6-4 loss against the Detroit Red Wings, Thomas, let's go ahead and take a look at the upcoming schedule and, to put it optimistically, see when the Blues have the opportunity to right the ship. They have tomorrow off, and then on Monday night, they are back in action in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, facing off against the Penguins. 6 o'clock puck drop. It'll be the first leg of a back-to-back. They'll be back at home on Tuesday night, facing off against who other than the Detroit Red Wings. 7:15 puck drop. And then next Thursday, the final game of October for St. Louis against the Vancouver Canucks. And then they will be on to November hockey. Thank God. October could not end soon enough for this St. Louis Blues hockey team. So let me ask you this as we begin to wrap. My platter question for you, my friend. 3 games remaining in October. What would you like to see specifically from St. Louis here the first full month of play? And I'm really leaving this out there because I'm not looking for a specific record. I'm not looking necessarily for a specific style of play, a guy to get going per se. I'm leaving it, the ball's in your court. You tell me what you would like to see in these final 3 games of October to make you feel less concerned, as you put it earlier, about where this team's at right now.
Just play good hockey. I feel like that's putting the bar on the floor because I'm not even saying they could go 0-3 in these games, right? If they play a full 60 minutes and lose each one like 2-1, I will feel 1,000 times better about this team than the way that I feel right now. But just getting embarrassed in some of these like performances period by period, like, is unacceptable in my opinion. Like, you've got the expectations of like the whole city of St. Louis to be like, to make it past round 1 because you had so much success last season. Also, I feel like I keep bringing this up on every single podcast that we're doing, but I'm going to keep hammering it home in the off chance that somehow, some way this works their way back to the St. Louis Blues. You're our only hope right now. That you're all we got. The Cardinals suck. The Battlehawks can't make it past the first round of the playoffs. Like, and City's a nightmare and rebuilding, and their sporting directors making decisions like when the sporting director is not even in place. Mm-hmm. The only thing we have to hang our hat on is the success of the St. Louis Blues.
What about Mizzou?
Don't even start with me.
I know.
But that's all we got right now. Mizzou was great, and now their season's over pretty much, right? Like, on the off chance that they still make it into the CFP, but it's going to be an uphill battle, and they don't have their starting quarterback. So,
or the backup. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, exactly. But the freshman looked good. I digress. The Blues, by far, by every metric imaginable, are the team closest in St. Louis to actually competing for a championship right now. And unfortunately, in this less than 10 game stretch to begin the season, with everybody's high expectations, with everybody talking about Jimmy Snuggerud winning a Calder, Binnington winning a Vezina, this team, making it past the first round of the playoffs and even making some noise in the second round of the playoffs. It feels like they've been furthest away from competing than any of these STL sports teams. And that, like I said, is unacceptable. So against the Penguins, who, by the way, were terrible last year, have started the season 6-2-1 and are second in the entire Eastern Conference. So this is not going to be a snooze fest for the St. Louis Blues. It's not going to be a walk in the park. So if they come in thinking like, oh, the Penguins suck, like Sidney Crosby's going to get traded halfway through the season, and they're going to be, playing for lottery odds again, they're going to get punched in the mouth again. Like after consistently doing it time in and time out this season, like we saw with the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm sure the Blues were like, his old little brother, we beat him all the time and we got him at home, walk in the park, and they lose 8-3. So get up for this game against the Penguins. I'm expecting Binner back in goal because I think you still got to give Hofer some time. But I need to see whatever team I saw in the first period tonight. I need to see that for 60 minutes, or I need to see, lockdown defensively, doing all the hard things that we know. Like I want to see people pounding bodies into the boards, which we saw in the first period and then absolutely got away from it in the second and the third. Like I need this team to put together a full 60 in these last 3 games of October, and then I'll feel way better about this squad, even if they go 0-3 in these games.
Well, I'm going to conclude this show with one final comment. Andrew, he put it very plainly. We lost. Final score, 6-4. The Blues blow a 4-goal lead tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. We will be back on Monday night on the post game. We have every single post game show for every single St. Louis sport here on STL Sports Central. If you have not liked, you have not subscribed, please do so. We would greatly appreciate it. We appreciate all of you being here, whether you are a St. Louis Blues fan or a Detroit Red Wings fan that was here to just rub it in our face. You got the chance to do so. And I hope
Heart Nut, appreciate the engagement.
Yep, that we do. And it was good to be back with my St. Louis Blues people. I've missed you all. First post-game show of the year. I guess 1.5 if you count my 10 minutes on the home opener from Enterprise. But no, looking forward to being back with you all on Monday. We appreciate all of you. Until next time, he's Thomas Welch. I am Ethan Hannaford. This has been Blues Central on STL Sports Central. We will see you next time.